They have positioned in Gujranwala as well as Panwakil. They have positioned their tactical weapons. The Chinese in their Xinjiang desert, they have created whole lot of storage space. Those are kind of igloo. Okay, they have stolen that technology from Germany, as well as they stole a little amount of tritium from them. India is not far. Till now, we were denying it, but it is now in the open forum that we also have the conventional as well as the nuclear tactical weapons in the battlefield. One of the senior leadership, he disclosed this, and that's how it came out that we have Prahar, which can be used as tactical weapon.
Hello everyone, welcome to Resonant News. In the most recent updates from Russia-Ukraine war, it has now come to light that 4 Russian fighter jets, out of which 2 were carrying nuclear warheads, had violated Sweden's airspace earlier in March, though the news has come out just a day ago. Also in the news is India's neighbor Pakistan, which has displayed Chinese-made SH-15 self-propelled howitzer during the Pakistan Day parade, and these are nuclear capable. In both the news, one thing is common, the word nuclear. This is why today we have on our show Commander Sandeep Dhawan, who is an expert on both China and Pakistan. In the interview, you will get to know some less discussed information about tactical nukes of not just Pakistan but also China. Keep watching.
It's a pleasure here to be on your channel and talk to millions of people across the world. And this is a very hot topic, what we are going to discuss today. And so at the outset, I would like to say that all the information I'm sharing here is from open source. There is no government data has been used or anything has been disclosed. So going ahead, nuclear war, and it doesn't really excite me, but it takes me back thousands of years when during Mahabharat age, a lot of weapons which were used, and they were of mass destruction. And the names are amazing. Like Brahmashira, Brahmastra, Pashpuastra, Vaishnamastra, Nayanastra, Agniastra, Vyastastra, Nagashtra, Vajrastra, Varunastra. There's so many of them, but the one particular weapon which takes the attention to is Brahmastra. Okay, and the kind of description in Mahabharat has been given after the usage of Brahmastra was as if they have used a nuclear weapon. Okay, the heat was so much generated, the land became barren, and people who were there, their skin melted out, and it's completely the way a nuclear holocaust happens. In fact, the father of modern nuclear bomb, Robert Oppenheimer, when after doing the first modern age nuclear blast, he was talking to people in Mexico, New Mexico. He when he was asked, "Is it the first nuclear blast?" He said, "Yes, in the modern times." And then he quoted from Bhagavad Gita that if the radiance of 1,000 suns were to burst at once into the sky, that would be like to the splendor of mighty one. Now I am become death, the destroyer of the world. So even the Oppenheimer was, trying to tell us that this is not the first nuclear blast, but in the ancient times, something happened which was akin to this. Okay, but I know there are a lot of people who will say, "What rubbish you're talking?" It's a modern age, because for them the time is a linear thing. Okay. For me, time is not a linear thing. Progression is not a linear thing. It's a wow. Okay, you can go back and come back again into same time, same position. Okay, many times. So that's what I wanted to say. Now you can go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree to that bit because I mean earlier we had done a video on something similar. In any case, I'll switch to my main topic, and you mentioned weapons of mass destruction. So when I was talking to ex-chief of BrahMos, he had mentioned strategic weapons and tactical weapons. Now we keep hearing tactical nukes and there's so many experts who keep saying there's every chance that tactical nuclear weapons can be used. Can you tell me the difference between nukes and the strategic
Yeah.
nuclear?
So first, I'll just go a little away from the tactical and strategic nukes. There are two types of nuclear, warheads. One is fission, and another one is fusion. Okay, the fission one, in plain language, you break open the nucleus and great energy is released. Whereas the fusion one, you combine two nucleus and then great energy is released. However, the major differences in that's the second one is called hydrogen bomb. Mostly, it's known as, and but that is not a single bomb. Okay, it's a weapon or a warhead. It's a dual one, which has got uh, uh, a fission as well as fusion both. Then only the fusion starts if fission starts first, and that too accurately. But to reach that stage, a country has to be very advanced, and India is there. Okay, we have. So now coming to the main question, that is strategic and tactical. But there's one more category which fits in between. That's called operational. Okay.
Interesting.
So now, in the broad terms, strategy is the one developed for mass destruction, like nuclear missiles and tactical weapons, whereas they generally carry a conventional high explosive warhead and sometimes a very low yield nuclear warhead. Now, main aim of strategic is so as to scare the hell out of enemy, so that he backs out of the war, and that their range is very high. Okay, 5,000 kilometers and more, so that you use intercontinental ballistic missiles, or you use submarine launched ballistic missiles, or you use the strategic bombers. Whereas the tactical weapon would be used in the heat of the moment in the battlefield, okay, and will be 300 kilometers or less. Whereas the operational weapon would fit between these two. So generally, and it keeps floating between, it becomes tactical, it becomes strategic, and generally the range is around 500 kilometers or so. See, the tactical ones would be around, they start from 0.3 kiloton, then 1 kiloton, 10, 15, 20, goes up to 100, 50 to 100. But the strategic one are highly destructive. They can go up to 1,000 kilotons. And it's very funny that one of the Pakistani ministers, he said that we have pow ke bombs, So he was trying to describe that, but yeah.
I would mean 250 grams, is it? There was this news that the Russian fighter jets evaded Swedish airspace and they were carrying nuclear warheads. So what would they be carrying? Tactical or strategic? And how do you really spot that it is a nuclear warhead? I mean, just by looking at it.
So in this, what is happening is a lot of people are keeping eye on Russia today. Okay, so US especially has got a lot of spy satellites, and one of them, the constellation of 4 satellites, is called Space-Based Infrared System. Okay, so this is the one which is going to detect the missile attack and mainly the nuclear. They're looking after the nuclear missile attack, and of course they can detect any missile. Because so now these spy satellites, they are keeping track of all the positions where Russians are storing the nuclear warheads. Okay, so nuclear warheads are stored in one place, and the trigger is placed in one place, So there would be a lot of activity to bring them together and then thereafter assemble them and then bring them to the, it's called IGLU or the shelter of. So they bring it together and then it is put on a either missile or then again missile is put on aircraft or it goes to submarine or it is if it's a strategic bomber, then it goes into the bomb goes into the bomb. The Chinese in their Xinjiang desert, they have created a whole lot of storage space. Those are kind of igloo. Okay, so that is the place. Generally, it is stored, and main thing is anytime you're even the igloo is not keeping it all the time because I told you this trigger has to be separate and the warhead has to be separate. So they have to be brought together. They could be in the igloo or the storage unit that time, or they could be somewhere else. Basically, the technical term for that is Weapon Storage and Security System, or WS3. Okay, and there's a weapon storage vault. So the weapon storage vault mostly they provision right under the aircraft shelter, and they harden. Also, they have a lot of security facilities like CCTV and infrared or electrical monitoring of the whole periphery. Like if you notice, I had some time back discussed about one Masroor Air Base in Pakistan. So just right northwest of that, they have the storage unit. Now, Masroor's airfield is having Mirage 3 and Mirage 5 aircraft. And that means now from that storage unit, which is northwest of Masroor unit, they have to come. That's about 5 kilometers. Now, if India is at war with Pakistan, we would be, monitoring that airbase, monitoring the movement of all the, because it has to come with a lot of security. There will be a lot of protocols which will come into play. The same thing would have happened with the Russian aircraft or fighters which were flying. They would have been monitored. Now, whether they actually put the nukes on the missile and then flew it, or they were just trying to show off, that is debatable. Like recently, I had posted one picture of the UK, British nukes being transferred from their storage unit to the submarines. Okay, and that was middle of the night. But despite being transported middle of the night, those pictures were leaked. Now, they could have been leaked purposely to scare Russians, or they were leaked so that they were tracked, because there is a tracking group in UK which tracks all the nuclear arsenal movements. The same thing goes here. The nuclear weapon, whether it is strategic or tactical, the purpose is one: scare the hell out of enemy, and that is what you do. Only thing is, see, the strategic weapons, they are with the highest authority of the nation or the leadership of the nation. Okay, and there's something called PALS, which is used basically permissive action links. That means it could be standard 2-man rule or 3-man rule. So that means it is just one person that, heat of the moment, he'll just enter the punch in the numbers and missile will be launched. No, it could be 3 people who have to punch in, or it could be 3 people. Okay, so if you've seen U.S. president is one of the 8, he moves on with a suitcase. Now that suitcase is called nuclear football, and so that is where they have to punch in the code, and it would be again punched in somewhere else by some other authorized officer, and then only the nuclear weapon will be launched. But that is for the strategic. Now comes the tactical one. Tactical one, let us say it is land-based, and you moving around with a tactical nuclear weapon, it would be the local commander who would be launching it, or he could be just surrounded and he's about to, he feels that he's going to die. Then, in the heat of the moment, because he has the code and he would just launch it. So there is a lot of, I would say, lacuna in the tactical warhead system. Say, like Pakistan has got no first use policies, not there. Okay, only two countries in the world have no first use policy, that is India and China. Okay, now that is also ambiguous because the policy says that, you know, if this thing happens or they attack us or our integrity of the country is threatened. So it is not a very, it's an ambiguous kind of thing. I can take it now at this time integrity is threatened. I can say they are preparing nuclear warheads. We have already noticed with our systems and spies and satellites. So that is the crossing threshold. No, there is nothing defined. So is that first use? So now I will say, okay, before the use, why should I use it? Okay. So no country in the world has really defined it, but yeah, Pakistan and USA, all the European countries, they have no first use policy. They will use it whenever they go.
Yeah, my next question is just this, that, you know, which country, Russia or Pakistan, in in the heat of the moment, which of these countries is likely to use tactical nukes? Because they both have no energy. Yeah.
Discussed about it. I don't think so. Any country would use a nuclear weapon. Okay. Now, but it's not the full answer. Answer is, let us say, Russian President Putin. Personally, he is threatened. Okay, that he would be ousted, he would be thrown out. Okay, like the US president just recently said that this man has to go. Okay, or let's say a Pakistani chief of army staff, he is threatened. He is being clamored upon. So in only under those circumstances, but as a nation, I don't think so anyone would collectively take any nuclear action at all in the modern age, because it is thereafter. Let us say Pakistan. Pakistan works on something called. They have taken a leaf out of NATO, and they match it. Okay, they force to force. They want to match it. Okay, but they really don't understand the concept that much. That means you will kill 22 crore Indians, and then 22 crore Pakistani would be killed, and then thereafter Pakistan is over. So I don't think so. Even despite having mad generals there, I don't think so they would use it. In fact, for Russia, I would say they have a system called TOS-1 or Buratino, or which is basically Pinocchio in Russian, because of its long nose. But this is basically it's a thermobaric weapon. Okay, now that is one very, very deadly weapon. Okay, that one is as good as a small nuclear tactical weapon. It can flatten a full colony, okay, of 400 by 400 meters in no time. And why it is called thermobaric is because thermo means temperature, baro means pressure. So huge amount of temperature, huge amount of pressure, and thereafter the pressure is sucked out. Then it creates a vacuum. So people living there, first of all the buildings come down. People living there, even if they survive, their lungs are ruptured, their organs are ruptured, and thereafter the unburned fuel goes inside their body, okay, and that is toxic. So even if they are saved from the crashing of the buildings, they're saved from the rupturing of their organs, they would still die because the fuel has gone inside, the unburned fuel has gone inside. So that is one very likely, if I'm not sure whether it is still now has been used also or not. The kind of destructions there in Ukraine, I cannot say that. But yeah, Russia has 2,000 tactical nuclear weapons. Okay, and most of them are on their ships. Okay, more than 900 are on their ships, and around 500 with Air Force, 70 with the Army. Okay, and 380 are generally kept in reserve with their air and missile defense forces. So that is what they have. Whereas Pakistan has total of around, everybody knows, 165 warheads, and so they have small amount of tactical weapons out of that, around 10 to 20 units. That's what people say.
Since you said both the countries both Russia and Pakistan, will not be interested in using nuclear warheads, and it makes sense, even if Pakistan fires a tactical nuke, the destruction will be caused on their area too. The nuclear
Yeah, so
destruction will be caused.
tactical has got well, this is one very big disadvantage, because let's say their tactical weapon range is about earlier it was 60, now it has gone to 70 kilometers or so. Now 70 kilometers is nothing. Okay, I had one. I wish you could show that. Explosion over Lahore. I had one picture. So that is showing a tremendous amount of destruction, because if it is airborne, in fact, and it's airburst, you can say, it kills a hell of a lot of people, more than if it is surface explosion. Okay, the number goes almost double. Like, main problem with the land one is that it follows the wind. So as the direction of the wind which is blowing, it will carry the radiation to the other areas as well, and it can go up to 300 miles. So the tactical weapon has got very big limitation. Is this, that how will you, like now, let's say Russia launches a tactical weapon in Ukraine. Their soldiers are all over. That means you're ready to kill your own soldiers to kill someone else. In my view, tactical weapon is a big no-no, because it gives you no advantage at all. And the Howitzer missile, they are Pakistanis, they are developing Howitzer 2 rather. So they had fired it, and they say now it is range is 600 kilometers or so, and it is successful. But once again, you can have, it's a dual use missile. You can use it, but you have to be ready for, and that goes into the operational rather than the tactical category. But still, you should be ready for the retaliation. And India has got now all 3 arms covered with the nuclear triad. So we have submarine launch, we have ground base, and we have air. So we are covering Pakistan as well as China and beyond, actually. Now, another interesting thing is that Pakistan has mostly concentrated their all the nuclear facilities around Islamabad. Okay, so that is one very big tactical mistake. The 2 scientists, they were in touch with Osama bin Laden when he was alive, and what were they discussing with him? They only know. And they were arrested, of course, and interrogated. But what is the outcome? Nobody knows. So the security and safety of a tactical weapon becomes very tough, because once it falls into rogue elements' hand, or even the army, a lot of sympathizers there, especially in Pak army, who sympathize with terrorist organizations, they can just be selling it off.
Recently, Pakistan did display this Chinese self-propelled howitzer, and it is apparently nuclear capable. I mean, it can fire nuclear capable tactical nukes. So, what do you make of it? Is that
okay? You're talking about SH-15, okay?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it is reportedly it's a dual-use howitzer, and it is basically they're trying to match India's K9 Vajra. So the initial plan was to buy, close to 236 units, but eventually I think they have bought only 52 units, and its range is also once again less, 20 kilometers in the standard ammunition when used, and 53 kilometers when it is rocket assisted. So
That's
that is a
pretty
kind of,
less, isn't it?
yeah, it's no, because it's not a missile or something, and
Yeah.
that's the kind of range you get. And our K9 Vajra has done an awesome job in when it was deployed in the north, and so these guys got alarmed and they have bought it, and it's a pretty good. I would say artillery system. It's got good conventional use, but nuclear use once again. So the range is very less, and they're going to harm themselves more than they're going to harm the Indians as such. In fact, if you notice, their whole focus of this tactical weapons is based on India's cold start strategy. Okay, and that is why they have positioned in Gujranwala as well as Panwakil. They have positioned their tactical weapons. Okay, and they're close to the border, and they expect that the Indian ingress would take place either from the Thar or from the borders close to Jalandhar to Gujranwala. So, but just imagine, Gujranwala is just very close to Lahore, and in no time, Indian forces would be, because that is a main purpose of the cold start strategy, is to reach within, make a inroads into Pakistan at the earliest, and in no time the forces would be there. Immediately when we did Balakot, he convened the meeting of all the bigwigs from the their forces and nuclear groups, and they were trying to show that we are preparing ourselves. But eventually, what happened? We did Balakot. Did they start using the nukes? No, they did not, because it's the road. If you take once, there is no going back. China also, we have to be ready. China presently has 350 nuclear warheads. As per US intelligence, they're going to go to 700 by 2027 and 1000 by 2030. Now, nuclear warheads, mostly they have the strategic one. I suppose DF-15 is the only tactical nuclear missile they have, as well as their CJ-20 air-launched, land attack cruise missiles, which they fly on H-6K aircraft. That could be the only possible dual-use missile they have for tactical purpose. But India is not far. Till now, we were denying it, but it is now in the open forum that we also have the conventional as well as the nuclear tactical weapons in the battlefield.
True. Till recently, there was no mention of tactical nukes from Indian
Yeah,
side.
so if you see someplace, one of the interviews, actually, one of the senior leadership, he disclosed this, and that's how it came out. That we have Prahar, which can be used as tactical weapon, which is 150 kilometers range. Then we have Pranash, which is under development, which is 200 kilometers. Then we have Dhanush, which is with Navy, that has got 350 kilometers range, and Prithvi 2 with 295 kilometers range. So only in fact, I'm working on a doctrine which is called, which would work against China. Okay, that the cold start strategy would not work against China. It will work against Pakistan. So that doctrine is, I'm naming it as simmer doctrine. You're simmering. Okay, you're always at a low heat, and then it's like people living in Siberia and all. They keep their cars running for months. Okay, because if they switch it off, they can't start it because it's so cold there. Okay, so it's running at the idle. You just come out of your house, get into the car, and put in the gear and start driving. And that is what my simmered doctrine against China would be all about. But that I'm developing and working on it.
Sounds so good. Sounds so good. Theoretically, we have no first use, and if our enemy attacks us, we will. There's a mutually assured destruction policy that we have.
like we've already discussed that surely India has no first use policy. But if you notice, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh about a year ago, he had said, or maybe slightly more than a year ago, he had said once he was asked, will we continue with our NFU if Pakistan is, showing the kind of colors they're showing? He said policies are there to change and we can change it anytime we want. Okay. So now if you combine that with the ambiguity which is left in the whole doctrine, that we will use it when we feel threatened or the enemies using the nuclear weapon. So I explained to you that enemy using means he's already used it, or he's preparing for it, or it has already been put on a ship or submarine or on the aircraft. What do you take as being used? Or you want it to come on you and then only you will use it? So that's the ambiguity left in the document, and I suppose India would play on that once the time comes. But
So then, you mean there's this ambiguity if we might use a nuclear weapon if we see our enemy preparing for it, which is interesting.
Yeah. So that is what is very interesting, that they have left that ambiguity, because you cannot be very, very rigid on this concept that we will not use it. You first kill me, then only I'll kill you. Okay. So that ambiguity has been left so that we know that you are preparing, or you are putting it on your ship or a submarine, and we are involved with you. Let's say we are in war with China, and they are monitoring us, we are monitoring them. Okay, and
That was
yeah.
Please,
That's
please,
about.
please complete. Yeah.
So that is a very interesting thing, and I like it. Now, one more thing I left out is the Pakistan's air element in this. So as of now, only Mirage 3 and Mirage 5, okay, they are capable of delivering the nuclear warhead. No other. And in that also, Mirage 5 is mostly having the limited number of some bombs are there with them, and that would be used. Whereas Mirage 3 has got we're going to use the HUT 2 missiles most probably, and they have made this missile light and maybe smaller in size. So there could be possibility that they're trying to fit it on GF-17. Okay, but as of now, there is no clarity on that, as well as there is no clarity on their F-16s, whether they are capable or they're not capable. Okay, Americans have given them that permission or not permission or whatever.
That
So,
makes it
that
even
is
more
the-
interesting. Because
Yeah.
France has denied any sort of maintenance to their Mirages and submarines.
Yeah,
Which
but they're
means-
using it.
So
They're using it.
even, yeah.
Okay,
They're losing
And,
that nuclear edge over us, you mean?
So no, we have tried. They don't have tried. Okay? They have only two options, either from the ground or from the air. But we have submarine launch also, as well as ship launch also. Okay, and another thing I would say is that most of the technology, Pakistani technology, was smuggled or stolen. Okay, so in fact, they have close to 4,000 kgs of weapon grade enriched uranium, as well as over 400 kgs of weapon grade plutonium. But main worry thing is that they have stolen. There's a thing called tritium. Okay, tritium can boost the fission process of a warhead, So you can reduce the amount of uranium or plutonium you're putting in and add some tritium. They have stolen that technology from Germany, as well as they stole a little amount of tritium from there. And using that technology, now they have produced almost close to 700 grams of tritium, which is capable of boosting almost 100 warheads. So that is one worrisome thing. I hope Indians are monitoring that, and we are also working on that.
This is such an informative session. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Commander Sandeep.
Yeah, it was a pleasure talking to you, and I hope it made some sense. And we shall get together soon.